Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram. Bharati Karuna Patram Bharati Padabhushanam Bharati Padamarudham Bharati Tirthamashraye Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Vitaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tattvagyam Vidhushekhara Bharati. Offering humble salutations at the lotus feet of Jagadguru Shankara Bhagavat Pada. We continue our journey into the celebration of Shankara, and we are in the fourth episode today. This is planned as a 5-episode series, and I'm struggling to complete it by tomorrow, but I will do all the attempts to complete it by tomorrow. So just to have a recap, in the first day, we looked at the background of the advent of Adi Shankara. The second day, we followed it up with the advent of Shankara, the birth, which means, and along with the birth of other greats who were to be his sishyas in the days to come, such as Mandana Mishra. We saw in great detail the story of Mandana Mishra and Ubhaya Bharati. In the third day, yesterday, we spoke about how Shankara took to renunciation. Now today, we shall speak about the sojourn of Shankara, which means his Digvijaya, in the sense that he has started traveling. And yesterday, where we ended is he had actually calmed a raging Narmada river that was near the ashram of his guru, Sri Govinda Bhagavat Pada. And looking at that amazing achievement, there was a lot of celebration there. And looking at that amazing achievement, Govinda Bhagavat Pada had said that the time has come for him to travel further to Varanasi and stay in the ashraya of Lord Vishwanatha in the lap of Mother Ganga. And he should further the propagation of Sanatana Dharma there. So as per the dictum of his guru, Sri Govinda Bhagavat Pada, Shankara journeyed to Varanasi, which was the seat of high learning, right from historical times. And he set up his ashram in Varanasi, and a lot of people used to come to him, really inspired by this. Not even a young man; he's a child sannyasi. Actually, probably Shankara Bhagavat Pada would have been around 10 years of time when he went to Varanasi from the ashram of Sri Govinda Bhagavat Pada. And as Shankara continued to stay at Varanasi, and his fame spread because no one could win over him in debates in Vada. So he ruled the roost, and he propagated Advaita school of philosophy, which means the non-dualism, which means there is only one Brahman and the rest everything is just a facet of that. And it found some takers, as well as he found a lot of opponents with whom he used to even have debates with and defeat them in the debates. It is actually the more technical term would be Vada. Okay, so they used to engage in Vada, and then he used to defeat them in that. Now, as it continued like this, one of the first persons who actually came to him was a Brahmin youth who came from the Chola kingdom. That means down south in Tamil Nadu, in the current day Tamil Nadu. And this boy actually he came to the Guru, and he came to Shankara. He prostrated before him and said, I want you to be my guru. Okay, so he said, he actually he reasoned very well. He articulated himself very well to Shankara. He said that your fame has spread far and wide. Don't necessarily look for whether I am eligible to be your Shishya. Because if I am eligible and you take me and then you do what, where is your greatness? Your greatness lies in the fact that even if I am a dull head, you are able to chisel a great Shishya out of me. Okay, so therefore, since you are a guru of such fame, please don't look at whether I am eligible to be your Shishya or not. Please take me as your Shishya. Now, this was both a praise as well as a challenge for Shankara. And so he actually took him as his first Sishya. And his name was actually Sanandana. Okay. So Shankara gave him a mantropadesham to become a sannyasi. And he was the first disciple of Shankara. And his name was Sanandana. Now it is just like how Lord Dakshinamurti has his sishyas and Sanandana is one of them. So even in this particular case, this Sanandana was a sishya of Sri Shankara. Now, they, he was one of the prominent sishyas. There were other sishyas also that Shankara had. And one day, after their morning studies, it was afternoon time, and all the yatis and the brahmacharis, they take ablutions thrice a day. So they take bath thrice a day, and they do their anushthanam. So once in the morning, in the junction of the early morning and the dawn, and once in the conjunction of the forenoon and the afternoon, and the third time in the conjunction of the evening and the night. So in the three sandhyas, they perform, they take bath, they take their ablutions, and then they do their anushthanam. So in one such afternoon, it was pretty hot, and the Shankara, along with his sishyas, was actually walking on his way to the Ganga to actually take bath and then perform his anushthanam. So he saw on his way that there was a Chandala. A Chandala is untouchable. He has a very very unkempt form and not necessarily very well kept hygiene and all that. And the Chandala had four dogs with him. And he came on the way as these Shankara and his Sishyas were going to the river Ganga. And Shankara actually said, "Please move from my way." So the Chandala actually, instead of moving, he just looked at him and said, "Hey, young ascetic, who are you? Okay, you seem to be very learned. Now, I want to ask you a question. Okay, who are you asking to move away? Are you considering me as the body and asking me to move away? In which case, there is very little difference between your body and my body, because I also came to the earth much the same way you might have come. And I also take care of my body just the way you actually do. And I will also face the same fate for this body, just like you will do someday. So therefore, as far as the body is concerned, there is not much difference between us. There is no difference between us. Now, if you actually look Brahman in me, and then you say, please move away. So Brahman is everywhere. Okay, the supreme being is everywhere. Okay, the Paramatma is all pervading, and it is the same Paramatma that is actually pervading everywhere. So who are you asking to move? Where will I move? If I am the embodiment of Brahman, where will I move? Okay, where are you asking me to move? So you please answer me. How you became so ignorant that that supreme soul is beyond the realm of thought, indescribable and indestructible, without an origin and faultless in any manner. And how are you actually asking me to move? Shankara was pretty astonished. He was surprised at once, but he quickly realized what he had just said. So this is what we spoke yesterday, that he overcame pride by recognizing the greatness in what the other person is saying. So he didn't, although he looked at him like as a Chandala in the beginning, very soon, as the Chandala spoke those wise words, he was very quick to grasp the import of that. And he said, and he actually folded his hands in reverence to the Chandala, and said that, whoever realizes this truth, whether he is a guru or a Chandala, I think is great, and he has my respect, and this is my firm conviction. So that like that, he actually eulogizes him in 5 verses, which are known in the Shankara Stotras as Manisha Panchakam, that end with Esha Manisha Mama. Manisha means Buddhi. Buddhi means this is my conviction. So this is my conviction that so he lists a lot of different qualities of the Supreme Being, and he says that whoever knows the Supreme Being like this, whether he is a Chandala or a Guru, he is actually respectworthy from me, and this is my firm conviction. So once he actually establishes, this such manisha, such a conviction in himself, and he sees the Chandala as the Supreme Being, the Chandala form of that person actually disappears. Remember, he was with 4 dogs. So instantly there is actually Lord Vishwanatha along with the 4 Vedas. And Shankara gets the Sakshatkara of Vishwanatha himself in that very moment, and he prostrates before him. And Vishwanatha is actually very pleased that he says, "Oh Shankara, you have actually passed this test that I have put for you. So therefore, I am very pleased with you." Okay. Now, what is happening? Yeah. So actually, there are 3 things. Okay, the shastras are valuable, but if the blessings of the merciful guru is not there, then there can be no benefit from derived from the shastras. And even if the preceptor is willing to bless you, if there is some bad luck because of which something intervenes, and we do not receive the knowledge from the preceptor who is actually giving it with so much care, then also there is no use. And finally, even if we actually get the knowledge, but we do not internalize it and realize it, there is really no use of it. So Lord Shiva tells him about the 3 steps of realization. First, he says the main thing is to be eligible to get that knowledge. The second thing is to secure that knowledge from the guru. And the third thing is to put it in practice and realize. So, first is eligibility, second is securing, and third is realizing. So, therefore, once he says that, then Shiva tells him, uh, I'm very happy that you are actually on the path of this realization, the self realization, the realization that Brahman is everywhere. So you have a lot of work to do. What happens these days is a lot of people are quoting Vedas out of context. Okay, and by quoting Vedas out of context, they are actually misinterpreting it and misrepresenting it, and because of which there is an utter chaos in following what the Veda is telling. And so therefore you need to correct it. So you should actually you have understood the essence of the Upanishads, and so you should actually analyze Brahman. Okay, from that perspective. And the Brahma Sutras also you should analyze from the perspective of what the Upanishads are saying. And you have to harmonize this together and write a commentary on the Brahma Sutras, which were given by Veda Vyasa. Now, Brahma Sutras are a set of about 500 odd aphorisms, which are written in a very cryptic manner, and which lay out the principle that Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Soul, is only one, and the entire world is a manifestation of that. So there is a lot of harmonizing uh, lessons that are there in the Brahma Sutras, which harmonizes the entire creation as the facets of Brahman. So therefore, Shankara, you should actually write a commentary on that. So by the description, we can feel that those Brahma Sutras actually carry the essence of the Advaita philosophy that Shankara is credited for in his times, right? So then Shiva says you should go and do Vada with scholars like Bhatta Bhaskara, Abhinava Gupta, Neelakantha, Prabhakara, Mandana, and you must establish the school of Advaita, and you should popularize it everywhere. So this is the remit that Lord Shiva gave to Shankara, his namesake. Okay, and he said, now you move from Varanasi for some time and do this job. And Shankara bowed to Shiva, who then vanished. And he thought about that, and he finished his ablutions in Ganga, and he went back thinking what Lord Shiva had told him. So he traveled. He liked the northern direction more than the southern direction. So and yeah, so he went in the northern direction from Kashi, and he actually reached the Badri ashram. Okay, he reached Badri through moving through the forests of Ganga, and on the banks of Ganga he kept moving, and he went to Badri. Uh, and in Badri, he had the company of lot of rishis who were doing tapas around that place. You know, it is a very mystic place where there are a number of caves where lot of yogis do penance. And Shankara had a chance to interact with those people as well. And there he imbibed the meanings of the Upanishads from those Maharshis who were actually realized souls, and he analyzed them himself. And in his 12th year of his age, he wrote out the beautiful commentary on the Brahma Sutras. And the commentary was very easy to read for the common man. I mean, common man in those days. We will see in a while, in a bit, what Vidyaranya has to say about the Brahma Sutras. However, they were very tough nuts to tough nuts to crack. As I mentioned, they're very cryptic in nature. But however, in those days, it was actually an easy read for all the for the common man. Now, what the main lesson, the main message of this Brahma Sutra was that it was supposed to give solace to man who was suffering from bodily things like the hunger, thirst, birth, death, misery, and lust, the six vices. Or even someone who actually suffered on the physical plane, like the outer skin, the inner skin, or the blood, flesh, bone, or the juice of the meat, marrow, and the semen. Or there could be trouble from the nine factors, like the five organs of perceptions, the indriyas, the five external organs, the karmendriyas, gyanendriyas, the pancha pranas, the four mental phases, and the five elements are ignorance, actions, love, and impressions of the mind of past actions which cause pain and pleasure. So between them, they covered physical, mental, and even spiritual afflictions that one can have to understand the Brahman and realize their selves. And Brahma Sutras effectively address this. So it became very, very popular with people. And continuing on that, stint of writing, Shankara also wrote out, Bhagavad also wrote out the commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, which is but the essence of Mahabharata. He wrote something called Sanat Sujatiyam, again, a work that is not very easily understood by the common man. He wrote a commentary on the Narasimha Tapaniya Upanishad, and he also wrote the Saundarya Lahari at that time, the celebrated epic Saundarya Lahari. And along with these very deeply philosophical and Vedantic texts, he also wrote a lot of different stotrams. Okay, of course, they were also written in subsequent times. But even when he was at Badri, he wrote something called, Upadesa Sahasri. Okay, so which is actually a hundred Upadeshas or hundred advices for a seeker. So which will help the seeker to get the liberation. Okay. And his disciples were taught everything that Shankara had written, all the bhashyas, the like Sananda and Sanandana. These disciples were taught everything that they were actually everything, all the text that Shankara had wrote, and the bhashyams that he had actually uh, uh, conceived. And especially among them, Sanandana was extremely sharp, and he was not only sharp, he was also very devoted to his guru. He would do all the chores of his guru, and he would serve him just like one would serve their parents. Okay, and he would never lose track of guru, and he would do just everything. And so obviously, Guru's grace flowed unto him, and the other disciples had a little bit of envy on him. So one fine day, Shankara wanted to show them why Sanandana is so great. And when they were on the bank of Ganga, and Sanandana was on the other side of Ganga, Shankara just lifted his head and called him, "Hey, come here." Now he was on the other side of Ganga, so and he had to actually cross the Ganga. He didn't have means. Just because his guru called him, Sanandana immediately started walking into Ganga. Okay, and his guru bhakti was such that wherever he put a step on Ganga, there emerged a strong lotus that held him there. And Sanandana moved from one lotus to another lotus, and he crossed the Ganga and came and fell at the feet of Guru. So Guru didn't have to say much. Other sishyas, they understood what the Guru wanted to show, and by virtue of this great feat, if we can say, or this great grace of the Guru, the Sishya Sanandana then became Padmapada. He came to be known as Padmapada in later years. So then Shankara, when he was teaching his disciples this self-realization, there were a lot of proud proponents of other schools of thoughts, like the extreme Shaivism, okay, which is called the Pashupatam. Okay, so these guys actually they sensed a lot of danger from him about their theories, and they came to debate with Shankara about the philosophy of dualism, non-dualism, that the Advaita philosophy that he was actually propounding. Uh, so one of their their proposition, the proposition of the Pashupadam was that liberation means attaining the state equal to that of Lord Shiva. Okay, because they were Shaivites. So, and Shankara said, when you say that the difference between the two, the individual and the supreme being, is real and permanent, that kind of salvation propounded by you is an impossibility, because it won't be lasting, because there are two states and one has to fit in one state or the other state. So if one goes to the other state, they will come back to this state at some point in time. So therefore, it is a logical absurdity, is what Shankara argued with them. So if it is said that salvation is possible by deep meditation, then you will have to admit that it has an end. Okay, so there is no continuous state of salvation if there are actually two states. So because whatever is created has to have an end. Okay, so therefore that would be actually a logical absurdity. And they also said that supreme being is different from the individual, and on in course of time the qualities of the supreme being are they are imposed upon the individual, such that the individual gets to that state. So Shankara said that is also incorrect, to say that qualities that have no form or existence can change from one place to another like that. Actually, Shankara gets to pretty atomic level in this case. So he sensed their question. and he asked them, so you may say that the sweet scent of the lotus flowers that mixes with the air. So although the air has no scent, the because of scent of the fragrance of the lotus flowers, the air assumes that. So which means that the quality of the lotus flower has come to the air. So is that correct? So therefore, in the same way, why could we not say that the qualities of the supreme being enter the individual soul? And Shankara said, even this argument is wrong, because if you give this particular example, he says the sweet scented minute particles of petal dust get mixed with air, and the wind, when it blows, carries those particles also, and the air appears to be scented. So the mere scent alone, without being attached to any object, does not go and mix in the air. So he says that the so-called scent, which is the quality that you are saying, also has a form, although it has a microscopic form and it cannot be seen, but it has a form. So therefore, it is not as if it's an invisible quality that is lent to air and the air becomes scented. So therefore, this way he actually uh, debunked their philosophy of dualism, where they said the individual and the supreme being are different, and over the course of the time, the individual attains the level of the supreme being, because Shankara argued that it is not possible, that such a state is not tenable. Okay, they cannot stay in that state forever, so they will fall back into this particular state, which is not what happens. Okay? So this way, Shankara was like a lion to all these elephants, which propounded dualism, because an elephant is very scared of a lion, because the lion can attack at the head of the elephant and break it. So they say that if an elephant dreams of a lion, it just dies of panic. Okay, so Shankara was like a lion for those kind of elephants here. Um, and uh, and so when he went back to Varanasi, the residents of Varanasi were actually surprised at the great capacity of this young sannyasi, who was so young in age, but he expressed it so well. And in due course of time, of course, the Pandits like Bhaskara, Gupta, Mishra Murari, Mandana, and the Guru called Prabhakara, they were among the great Pandits who were defeated by Shankara in the Vada. Uh, Again, the Buddhists, they actually, the Saugatas, they're called, they wanted to kill the individual soul. Okay, so they just said there is nothing like a soul, there is a traveler. Okay, so there is a traveler who is traveling possibly towards the supreme soul. And such a philosophy got some credence from the followers of a rishi called Gautama, who gave some life to that particular traveler. So, although the Saugata idea, the Buddhist idea, said that there is nothing like supreme soul, and it is just the traveler who is traveling, and there is no afterlife. Okay, the Gautama school, of course, said no, there is a supreme being after all, and the traveler is traveling towards that. Okay, and and how does the traveler actually travel? Okay, so the traveler travels in certain ways, and because the travel has to be towards a supreme being, but without taking the supreme being into account, people like Kumarila Bhatta, whom we spoke about in the first day, Kumarila Bhatta, who propounded the ritualistic part of the Veda, or the Karma Kanda of Veda, he said that by the traveler will, through the karma kanda, they actually showed a path to the traveler to be engaged in his lifetime. But they also didn't fully, say that this karma kanda has a relation to the supreme being he is actually looking for. Okay, so that way, all these philosophies described a part of one's journey. Okay, it could be either they looked at the individual soul, or they looked at the supreme being, or they looked at the process this individual soul was actually taking but they didn't see the full picture of what was actually going on here. So this is what was actually debunked by and the logicians, the Nyaya Shastra experts, they they did use their tricks or their logics to actually defend this particular school of thought or whatever they were actually proposing. And the Sankhya school also was actually part of that. So where it removed the what it says is the universal soul by Kumarila separated from the elements, but was a slave of the good and bad actions. Okay, so they actually the Kumarila Bhatta school said there are five elements, but they didn't give a lot of credence to that supreme being. Okay, so they said that the supreme being is separate, different from these five elements, but they just said that there is a karma and the traveler is subjected to the good and bad karmas that he actually does, and that is because of Maya. So they kind of didn't give a full picture of what was happening here, and as I said, they got stuck in small processes of what an individual soul was actually going through in his journey, his or her journey. So this is what Shankara actually now he was going on debunking uh, uh, from one claimant to another claimant. He went on doing this vada with them, and he kept on winning them over. So he at the same time he was actually explaining and making his disciples also experts in this field of talking about Advaita and how to pit it against the other philosophies which were actually dividing more than uniting. So that is how the stay in Kashi was going on. And the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, especially what he had written when he had just written at the age of 12, they say about the Brahma Sutra. Actually, Acharya Vidyaranya gives a very, very beautiful shloka, which is a little complicated and makes more sense when you're equipped with some of the Sanskrit learning. But I will attempt to just explain it here. So he commenting on the Brahma Sutras and their difficulty. He actually says this shloka. He says, Vyaso darshayati sma sutrakalita nyayogharatnavalihi artha arthalabhavashatnakairapi budhaireta gृहीताश्चिरम् अर्थापि सुलभाभिरधुना ते मण्डिताः पण्डिताः व्यासश्चापकृतार्थतां यतिपतेरौदार्यमाश्चर्यकृत्. So what it means is, there is a lot of pun here, just like there's the stamp of Acharya Vidyaranya. So he says, Vyaso darshayati sma nyayogha sutra kalita ratnavalihi. So the Brahma Sutras that Vyasa had written, sutra stands for a necklace, okay, which is strung together by these beads. So the Brahma Sutra, Acharya says, it is like a garland, okay, a hara that is strung together with lot of these beads, and these beads are actually logic, the Nyaya Shastra. Okay, so therefore the hara, the sutra was it was very beautiful to look at. It was very pleasing. However, it was very expensive. Okay, and nobody could afford it. So arthalabhat, he says arthalabha vashat. So he says nakairapi budhaihi eta grihitaschiram. What he means is the great people, okay, the pandits, they saw the beautiful hara, but they had no artha, okay, to own it. Okay, it means two things. They didn't know the meanings of these Brahma Sutras fully, so they couldn't actually enjoy it, or they couldn't read it well. The second is the what he implies is they didn't have the money, okay, to buy this precious hara that Vyasa was actually showing them. He was taunting them with that particular hara, and they actually didn't have the money to buy that. They couldn't afford it. Now here comes Shankara Bhagavad and he writes the commentary on that. So the commentary served like a bank that gave free money to all these pandits. Okay, so taking money from this particular Bhagavad that Bhagavad had given, they went and they could afford this the sutra, the hara then. Okay, in other words, by reading the commentary of Bhagavad Pada, they could actually make sense of what was written in the Brahma Sutras. And finally, when they could do that, Vyasaschapakratarthatam, Vyasa felt very relieved that the sutra that he was showing, the garland that he was showing, could actually find buyers. Okay, so because what use is somebody's product if there are no takers, no buyers for that? It can be very good, but the creator will not feel so happy looking at the fact that nobody could afford it. So, however, how could they afford it? Yatipater audaryam ascharyakrita. So Yatipatehe means the best of the sannyasis, the lord of all the sannyasis, yatis, that is Shankara, his audaryam, okay, his generosity, that he actually not only wrote this commentary, but he made it available for the world to read it for free. And then they could afford this beautiful hara of the Brahma Sutra that Vyasa had actually written. So this is a very beautiful shloka that Acharya Vidyaranya gives us, and with that the Shankara's realization part has actually now come to a fruition. So where he has met Lord Shiva, and under his instruction he has gone and written the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, and now he's back at Varanasi, and he's propagating these whatever bhashyas he has written, and the Advaita school of philosophy, and whenever the chance arises, he is going and having debate this with these other matams like Pashupatam or the Kumrila Bhatta school, or these schools, and so it was going on like that. When they were actually when he was teaching his students and his sishyas one day, the classes happened in the morning, and by afternoon, evidently these are very tough topics, and they had a lot of discussion, and by afternoon the sishyas were pretty tired, and they came out. And when they came out, they saw one old man who stood there and asked, "Who are you? Who is he?" So these young children, the Sishyas actually told him, "He's our Guru." Okay, and he is teaching us Brahma Sutras on which he has actually written the Bhashyam. So the old man says, "Oh, is that? Like, can I meet him?" And so he goes inside to meet Shankara and says, "Oh, it's very surprising. You're such a small boy and you have written a bhashya on the Brahma Sutras. Now tell me about it." So Padmapada was the one who took him inside, and he introduced Shankara and said that this old man wants to hear from you. So the old man asked Bhagavad Pada that, "Can you tell me that first sutra of the third chapter of the Brahma Sutras?" And Shankara he tells that particular sutra, and he explains. So when the individual soul loses this physical body, he goes to another world with the subtle body, or the Sukshma Sharira. So this subject is also explained in the Tandi Upanishad in the form of questions and answers between the sages Gautama and Jaivali. So this actually tells us that Shankara not only written the Bhashyam, he harmonized it with the message of the Upanishads. So wherever Upanishads were saying similar things, he brought it also there. So the old man, he was clever, and he asked a lot of questions, and Shankara kept on answering the questions. And this debate between the old man and Bhagavad went on for 8 days. 8 days. And Padmapada was very intently looking at both of them, their points and counterpoints. And after 8 days, he just said that this old man who is asking questions like this, because Padmapada has seen quite a few of the debates of his guru, none of them lasted this long. So he says that, and this old man has very pertinent points. So therefore, he cannot be anyone other than Vyasa. So, and he just says, "Oh Guru, I think he is none other than Vyasa. Vyasa is actually the avatar of Lord Vishnu. You are the avatar of Shankara and Shiva, and he is the avatar of Vishnu. And you both are actually, having this debate." Uh, uh, and so Shankara also immediately realizes, because by now we have seen enough examples that Shankara recognizes the greatness in the other persons, and he actually also folds his hands and says, "You are definitely," that says Vyasa or Krishna Dvaipayana. Uh, and immediately the old man actually takes the form of Vyasa with his matted golden hair and whatnot, just like how we would have seen Vyasa in some of the serials, or perhaps an even grander form he assumes. And Shankara prostrates before him and says, if you are pleased with me, please forgive any of the mistakes that I might have done in writing your Brahma Sutras." Then Vyasa tells him, "No, no, no, I think you have done an excellent job. And if I would have written a commentary of a bhashya of the Brahma Sutras, I would have written it exactly this way." So then he has got the blessings of Vyasa himself, the master himself, who has written the Brahma Sutras, and Shankara got validated from Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa in that particular manner. So Shankara again, as I said, he prays to him to be merciful to correct the wrong words he might have used in these commentaries, and it could be an audacity on his part to use certain words. And Vyasa, he held both his hands with great reverence, and he looked at all the portions of the work, and he said, "No, there is no rashness or temerity on your part to write the commentary when you have been taught by your preceptor." And his preceptor was none other than Govinda Bhagavad, who was one of the successors in the same lineage from Veda Vyasa. Like we said, Vyasa, Shuka, Gaudapada, Govinda Bhagavad, and Shankara Bhagavad. So, therefore, Vyasa validated Shankara's work like that, and he also exhorted him that countless scholars have written commentaries on the Brahma Sutras, but none of those can bring out what I actually meant in them, except what you have written now. So then Vyasa commends him, just like Shankara commended him to go and write the Brahma Sutras. Now Vyasa commends him and says that now you can, may you conquer the schools teaching differentiation and spread the doctrines of Advaita, monoism everywhere. And you establish in this great works on Advaita, which abound in their classification of the subject, benefit, the fit person to follow it, and the connection between the works and the learner. So every great work should have these four components or parts in it. So that's what Vyasa exhorts Shankara, and he blesses him that his commentaries were very, very well written. And Shankara, on his part, he actually says, "Oh, Master, actually, in any of the works, it is usually the sutra that helps the flowers to gain importance. Okay, but in your case, in the case of my commentary, it is the flowers that help the sutra to gain importance." Okay, so which means that he refers to the common saying that the thread shines on the account of flowers, and says it is reverse in this instance, in which the thread causes the flowers to shine. So with that, so by that, what he actually means is that It is only because of his Brahma Sutras that the commentaries became very popular. So, with these words, he actually falls at the feet of Vyasa, and Vyasa actually blesses him and commends him to go on Vijayatra and have a debate with other people who were opposing this school of Advaita. So Vyasa particularly takes the name of Kumarila Bhatta, okay, and says that you go and have Vada and win over him and let him write the foreword for your Brahma Sutras. Okay, so Kumarila Bhatta, who was a great proponent of the ritualistic of the karma kanda as we spoke, and so it would be great if he gets convinced and he writes the, it would be very fitting if he writes the preface, he writes the foreword of your Brahma Sutras. So Shankara agrees, he takes that blessing, and then he goes south from there and he goes to Prayag. So that is where the meeting point of Ganga and Yamuna and Saraswati, the Triveni Sangam. So he goes to Prayag. He takes bath in Prayag, chanting the Agamarshana Sukta, which also has the Imam Me Gange Yamune Saraswati. So which says the water has the waters from Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, and all the Shutudri, all the great rivers, and may it purify me. So Agamarshana Sukta is actually chanted while taking bath, and it is by that the bath actually becomes a purificatory bath. So when he came and he had finished his ablutions and his anushtanam and he sat under a tree, he overheard some people speaking. You know what, that great scholar who saved the karmakanda, and he even endured a fall from the hill many times, okay, and that's how he actually propagated his this thing. Now he is sitting on prayopavesha, means he is taking his own life for something, by he is sitting himself, immersed himself in a pit full of burning husk for the sake of purifying himself, and he is having a repentance of some sorts. So Shankara, he heard it, and then he immediately proceeded to where Kumarila Bhatta was. So he saw that Kumarila Bhatta was indeed sitting, and with the husk of the paddy all around him, and that had actually set on fire. And he was sitting right in the middle, trying to get purified with that fire and leave his body. And there were other great scholars there, like Prabhakara, who were standing reverentially with folded hands, and they were evidently very tearful and sad that Kumarila Bhatta was actually resorting to this. So Shankara, he reached there. Kumarila Bhatta had never seen him before, but now it was not very difficult for him to recognize. So he saw Shankara, and immediately he was extremely joyous. Even in those moments of great pain, he was extremely happy to see Shankara, and he expressed his happiness and said, it is a and so Shankara said, what is this that you are actually doing? I wanted you to write the preface to my Brahma Sutras. And even in that state, Kumarila Bhatta flips through the pages and says, even for the first chapter of your commentaries of your Bhashya, I can write an 8,000 worded preface. Okay. So it would be like a commentary for another commentary. I have been very desirous of seeing you for a long time, but I could not see you. Then Shankara asks, why are you doing this? Okay, why are you why are you resorting to this prayopavesha? It's called prayopavesha. Then Kumarila Bhatta gives the reason for committing this, and there are two reasons. The first is he says he has taken certain things out of context from Vedic texts, and by reasoning he refuted the theory of the school which said God exists. So, in other words, even though he didn't say in as many words, he what he propounded showed as if God actually didn't exist. Now, although it was not his intention to deny the existence of God, but he couldn't even wholeheartedly say that, because to prove his point, he couldn't actually lay stress on the point that God exists. So the second thing that he said was, he tried to uh, you know uh, uh, get into vada with these Buddhists who were propounding atheism, and then try to argue with them, have vada with them. But he could rarely win against them because he was not completely sure of what they were arguing. So, in order to understand what they actually, what was their standing, what was their position, he went and joined, infiltrated into one of them, okay, into their families, and he started hearing what they were saying. So one such day, as they were doing the Vedaninda, he was extremely sad, and tears rolled out of his eyes. And that's when they had a suspicion on him, and they went and they said, no, this man seems to be an intelligent Brahmin who will learn our arguments and then use it against us. So I think it is good that we get rid of him. And then they went and pushed him from the top story of their house. And as he fell, he said, "If Vedas are pramana, okay, I may be saved." And because he used the word "if," the other day I said that there is no, I didn't see it anywhere, but here Kumarila Bhatta himself actually tells Shankara Bhagavad that because I used the word "if." That suggested a doubt, and because of which I lost one eye. Now, however, since I learned the Purva Mimamsa from these Buddhists, and later I, fought against them, and I tried to defeat them, and I went against them. Whoever teaches you even one letter is like a guru, and you should not do droha to them. You should not actually betray them. But here I have learned the entire Purva Mimamsa from these people, and now I went against them. So for these two sins that I have committed, I am atoning my sins by having this purificatory thing. Then Shankara said, "Okay, I think by my very darshan you have atoned yourself of the sins. I can quickly recover, relieve you out of it. You can come out. I will sprinkle water on you." But Kumarila Bhatta says, no, no, that will send a wrong message to the world that even if you commit a wrong, you somehow saved yourself, and it will not be good for either of us. So you let me go through this, and since you have come here, please stay here for one matra kala. Okay, one matra is 48 minutes. Please stand here for 48 minutes. Please give me the upadesham of the Taraka mantra so that I can do the japa and I can leave my body. And Shankara gives him the upadesha of the Taraka mantra in that state. And Kumarila Bhatta, he takes that Taraka mantra. And before going, he actually says that, I have a disciple. His name is Vishwarupa. He's also known, he's called Mandana Mishra Sharma. Okay. And he's known widely as Vishwarupa. He is superior to me almost in every science that you can talk about. So you should go and have your debate with him. Okay. I think my time is up. So let me go. But you can go to Mandana Mishra, and you should have the debate with him. And so saying, Kumarila Bhatta, left his body, and he went into the high heavens. As we have said earlier, he is none other than the avatar of Lord Subramanya. Okay, so therefore he went back to his abode because his role on the earth had actually completed by propounding the karma kanda of the Vedas extensively, and towards the end of his life, he is seeing value in the Advaitic philosophy of that Shankara was proposing, and in order to establish further, yeah, he had full confidence that Shankara can go and have Vada with Mandana Mishra, who has a lot more influence. And by conquering Mandana Mishra, the school of Advaita can be established even more strongly. So that is how Kumarila Bhatta directed Shankara Bhagavad Pada to go and meet Mandana Mishra. Now, Mandana Mishra, he lived on. So, with this, the seventh sarga of this Madhaviya Shankara Digvijaya comes to an end. We will briefly touch upon the eighth sarga and wind up in a couple of in a few minutes today. So, this Mahishmati, where the town where Mandana Mishra lived, it is in the present day Madhya Pradesh, on the banks of the river Narmada or Reva. Uh, and that is supposed to be the place where the Kartavirya Arjuna, he had actually he stopped the river Narmada he had 1,000 hands, so he had stopped the river Narmada, and that is where also the Lord Parashurama is supposed to have slain the 1,000 hands of Kartavirya. So the banks of Narmada, they provided very cool breeze. Shankara Bhagavad reached there and he finished his morning ablutions there, and he now set out to meet Mandana Mishra. So he wanted to know where Mandana Mishra's home was. So he comes out and he asks some of the women who came to that. To that river about where the home of Mandana Mishra was there, and the women what they replied was pretty interesting because he said, "Oh, sannyasi, you walk in this particular way, you will see a big house where there are parrots." And you know what those parrots they keep talking about? They keep arguing with each other. They say, Swatah pramanam paratah pramanam kirangana yatra giram giranti द्वारस्थनीडांतर सन्निधा सन्निरुद्धा जानीहि तन्मंडन पंडितौकः. So there will be a place where the parrots will be saying, they get proof because the Vedas have been uttered by the Lord. Good and bad actions alone cause results. Then another parrot says, no, it is not the acts that cause the effect, but it is the God that grants the results. So wherever this kind of this speech is spoken by these parrots, know that to be the house of Mandana Mishra. So through these shlokas, there are actually three other shlokas which says so one parrot says the world is dhruva, means constant. The other one says no, it is not constant, it's ever changing. And these kind of deep philosophical discussions the parrots are having, and that is the home of Mandana Mishra. Shankara gets the idea, and then he goes and it is not difficult because there won't be any house like that. So he found one house, and then he saw that the house was actually locked from outside, locked from inside. So there was nobody to open that. And Shankara actually had yogic powers. Okay, so with the yogic power, he levitates into the sky, and over the boundary wall, he enters into the house of Mandana Mishra. Mandana Mishra that day is performing a Pitrukaryam. So it is in Pitrukaryam we invite Brahmins and offer them food. So those Brahmins represent the Pitru Devatas and the Vishwe Devas. So when the Brahmins were being felicitated by Mandana Mishra, Shankara arrives there. So Mandana Mishra sees Shankara Bhagavad Pada, and he is a bit irritated. See, Mandana Mishra is a very deep Karmakanda exponent. Okay, so he is a ritualistic person. So when he sees a sannyasi doesn't have the tuft, the shikha, or the Yajnampavita. And when he saw Shankara, he got a bit irritated because he held the general view that the sadhus, the sannyasis, were people who were very lazy. They didn't want to engage in hard work. So because of which they take to the easy path of seeking alms. And by seeking alms, they make a living. Okay, so he even saw Shankara Bhagavad Pada with such contempt, and the debate that happens between Mandana and Shankara is something extremely astounding. Okay, so it is my opinion is that at least to understand and enjoy it, one must learn Sanskritam, because and you will see that this kind of they were sledging each other, and it is not even sledging; they were basically abusing each other. So Mandana looks at him, sneers at him, and says a certain thing, and then Shankara also strikes back with the same, almost with the very similar words. So this kind of an exchange of pleasantries, quote unquote, happen between Shankara and Mandana, and as it crosses certain limit, and Mandana is accusing Shankara in a very angry tone. Okay, he is not supposed to be doing, because it's a sannyasi who has come, and he should respect him. But instead, he is actually talking to him in very condescending terms. He is not only insulting him personally, he is calling names. He is also insulting his ashrama, that is the sannyas ashrama itself. And Shankara, very coolly, with a smile, he refutes every single thing that Mandana was actually telling. And that goes on for almost about 30 shlokas, and unfortunately, we can't get into those details, because, as I said, that itself needs a certain appreciation of the Sanskrit literature and elaborate explanation. So I will not go into that now, but maybe some other time we will talk about it. But as it was going out of hand, there were actually sages Vyasa and Jaimini who came that day to as Brahmins to Mandana Mishra's house to receive to perform this particular Pitrakarya. And says Jaimini immediately told Vandana Mishra, no, no, don't speak like that. He is a very honorable sannyasi. So you should just invite him to this particular Pitrakarya, and you should also felicitate him. So Vandana Mishra immediately realizes his folly. He takes his Achamana, and he invites Shankara Bhagavad also to that particular Pitrakaryam, and he felicitates the three Brahmins, says Vedavyasa, Jaimini, and Shankara. And so he tells Shankara, come and have food. Shankara says, this food doesn't interest me. I came to ask you the alms of Vada. Okay, I came for Vada Bhiksha, he says. I wanted to do Vada with you, so therefore we should be talking, okay, and not eating. And Mandana Mishra says, very well, I am game for it, okay, because Mandana has known no defeat until now. And he says, I am game for it. So who shall be our judge? He asks. And he asks the sages Vyasa and Jaimini, you are learned and you have come here, so why don't you stay on as judges? But they say that no, no, we can't be judging your Vada. We need to go. Your wife, Saraswati, Ubhay Bharati, who is there, she is extremely learned. Okay, she is very capable of standing as a judge between you two when you are actually engaged in your debate. So let her be the judge. So they both accept that, and Mandana says, very well, we shall start our Vada tomorrow. So we shall continue this tomorrow with the Vada between Mandana and Shankara, and how that proceeds, and then how the other disciples also come to other Sishyas also come to the fold of Shankara Bhagavad Pada, and his ultimate Vijay Yatra that he carried out all across the Bharatavarsha. We shall see that and conclude this the five-part series tomorrow on the occasion of the holy Shankar Jayanti. So until then, I take leave of you. Thank you very much for listening. लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम.